Hello and welcome. I'm Giles Carwin,
I'm Natalie Jackson.
and we recorded this video series to tell you a little bit more about what an Eros work weekend is.
Yeah, so welcome here. We've got 4 different videos in this series. The first one's going to tell you about what an Eros work weekend is and who might want to sign up and who might want to go.
Second one's going to tell you about who we are and why we're so passionate about this work.
Yeah, and the third one's going to tell you about the impact that a weekend like this might have on you.
And the fourth one will help you decide whether or not this weekend is right for you.
The style is we're going to interview one another, and then both of us are going to answer the questions. So you get to hear kind of from both of our perspectives.
So Natalie, what exactly is an Eros work weekend?
So an Eros work weekend is an opportunity to come together with a group of people of all genders and to share some experiences that might open up the doorway to more enhanced, more beautiful, more meaningful, more connective, more sexy sexual expression and experience. So this weekend is your chance to get clear on something that maybe you're missing and to reclaim it for yourself.
The weekend is really a chance to take a step towards who you want to be as a sexual person, how you want to show up in the world, and get you moving from where you have been to where you would have always wanted to be.
Oftentimes, there's this aspect of our sexuality that maybe feels like there's not enough of something. Maybe there isn't enough joy there, or maybe you're not experiencing enough pleasure there, or maybe you're not experiencing enough connection or love or wild abandon.
And it can be incredibly affirming to know that you're not alone in those struggles. Everybody's there for the same reasons. We want more connection, love, touch, pleasure, intimacy, romance, excitement, passion in our lives. And we're not going there to get it from each other. We're going there to help each other find it within ourselves. It's not a place to go hook up with people and find that next partner. It's a place to go and become the partner you want to become.
Lovely. So what kind of person? Who is this for?
Anybody who wants more from their sexuality, that wants more from their partnership, that wants to find a new partnership that really feeds them, who wants to enjoy their sexuality on their own even more. And I'm willing to step into discomfort and risk and challenge myself to go do that.
There's a part of me that really believes that our sexuality is key to unlocking something really magical and powerful inside of us.
And if we create greater freedom and access to who we are as a sexual being, that just creates greater freedom and access to who we are as a human being in all ways. Absolutely.
And what's so beautiful about it from my own experience is when we can enhance our relationship to sexuality, then that in some way almost like enhances our relationship to all of life. It's like the juice or the spark that makes life really sexy. And that's one of the things that I've really gotten out of doing this work. So what do you actually get out of an Eros work weekend?
That's a great question. And we've identified 6 core elements that really make up the weekend. We call the 6 pillars of the weekend. And the first one is just that there's a chance to talk about sex. It's sort of a taboo in our culture. And I know I've really struggled with that, to be completely honest about who I am and what I like and what I want to do and who I want to do it with. And it's very rare to have an open and honest conversation about sex. One of the things we do is give people just a chance to talk, to take sexuality out of the closet, out of the shadows, so to speak, and make it something that we can share with other people and have that go in a way that is really affirming and acknowledging and compassionate and loving and positive. Because in many ways, what we don't talk about is all wrapped up in shame. And if we're not talking about sex, it's because it's all mixed up with shame for our culture. So we can lift it out of that shame and make it something to be celebrated rather than something to be hidden or protected.
So the second pillar is to look at the cultural shadow piece. And those cultural impacts really imprint how we show up in relationships and how we show up within ourselves and what we believe about our own sexuality. And so within the course of this weekend, we look at kind of healthy ways to be able to remove those imprints and find outlets for what might have really been considered shameful within our societies. And one of those outlets is through the realm of fantasy. So we look at using fantasies to heal some of that really destructive imprinting that has kept us boxed in and locked up with regards to our sexual expression.
And a big part of it too is to look at the cultural stuff that's going on. What's it like to be a woman in the world today? What's it like to be a man in the world today? What's it like to be a non-binary person in the world today? And to really talk about the fears and the angers and the frustrations and the disappointments we've got with the other gender. And to get all that stuff out on the table so we can let it go and start to really see one another, start to really appreciate and love and respect and celebrate one another. And the next pillar is to look at our personal shadows. And the shadows are the parts of ourselves that we've hidden away. In some ways, we showed up in the world as this whole, complete being. And then we get socialized and we get taught that certain parts of ourselves are not acceptable. And shadow work and Eros work are all about reclaiming those parts of ourselves that we've locked away, or hidden from ourselves and everybody else. And one of the main ways we do that is to look at what we call our core erotic themes, what really turns us on, what's compelling, what's exciting for us. Is often a direct mirror of who we are at the deepest core of our being. So our sexuality can sort of be a doorway into the deepest parts of who we are. And we can look at what we desire most and what's blocking us from that desire. And then we can time travel back in time to see where all that got set up in us. And then make a shift, change how we're holding ourselves and our sexuality, in both in our mind and in our hearts and in our body.
The next pillar of what you'll experience on this weekend is an actual piece of work. So for anyone who's been to a shadow work weekend, you know that there's an individual piece of work in the center and everyone kind of supports you. How we do it differently in an Eros work weekend is we do our piece of work together. And so there are these really beautiful kind of ways that you can work through something really deep and really meaningful. So you'll enter the weekend and kind of lay out before you what it is you want to shift, what it is that you want to change in your life. And then that will start to unravel. We'll kind of unpack it over the course of the weekend. And then together we'll have this opportunity to really go into that piece of work and move the energetics of whatever has been blocked or whatever has been held away deep in shadow.
The fifth pillar is we really introduce the idea of there being 4 sexual archetypes, 4 different ways to be a sexual being in the world. And they are the wild one, which is sort of our primal, raw, erotic self. The navigator, which is the one who is making sure everything goes well, making sure that things happen the way we want and they don't happen the way we don't want. There's the idealist, who's always imagining sex as this way of connecting to a higher or greater self or purpose. It's a very generous, loving, positive, affirming part of our sexuality. And the romantic, which is the part of ourselves that wants to be close and connected and in relationship, sweet, tender, pair bonded, and where love is all about connection and belonging. And we found that most people are more comfortable in 1 or 2 of these areas and then tend to struggle to get in the others. And so we're create a situation where you get a chance to see the value and the beauty of all 4 different ways of being a sexual being. And often the struggles we may be having is because we don't have access to one of these archetypes. We've only been given ourselves permission to do it in one way, but there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it. Different desires that all can be operating at the same time. And so we give you a chance to really taste and try on each of these archetypes and consider incorporating all 4 of them into who you are.
And the last pillar of what you'll experience on this weekend are some really beautiful rituals that we've created to honor ourselves as a sovereign, full and complete human, and to honor each other. So in a mixed gender container, to create some honoring rituals of the other genders and be able to kind of be in a space of love and respect and valuing the goodness that we see in each other is really meaningful and deeply healing for so many people to experience. I'm Natalie Jackson again.
I'm Giles Carwin.
Together, we are part of the Eros Work team, and we're here to guide you on this beautiful journey.
Hopefully this video is giving you a sense of what an Eros Work weekend is all about and why you might want to go. And the next one, we're going to talk about who we are and why we're so passionate about this work.
Thank you for joining us. And if you're interested or curious or want to know more or want to chat with one of us, just go to www.eroswork.com. Thanks for tuning in.